All right, back again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drain the old gas out of my bike and take the tank off. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to attempt to check my coils, my spark plugs. Well, basically do both at the same time. Basically roll the bike over, hook it up to the jumper cables, roll it over, see if I got any spark in my which cylinder's not running. So if I got a dead spark plug, I'll be able to tell that. And if I got a dead coil, I'll be able to tell that by switching the spark plugs, the good spark plugs with the dud spark plugs, if that's what it is. So if I'm lucky, it's just the plugs. If I'm not lucky, it'll be a coil or something else. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna get to it. There, so my siphon is working pretty good. All you do is you just jam the probe to the bottom of the tank, squeeze that a few times, and then just make sure your tank is lower than the actual siphon, and it'll just all suck out like that. They might stop and you have to reprime them. You just squeeze that red thing to reprime them. I don't even think these things are like $5. Buy 2 of them. And then this gas tank's going to get a little bit heavy, but I'll try to, nothing to really, I guess I'll just have to hang on to it the old-fashioned way. It's working pretty good. Fastest way to drain the gas, cleanest way to drain the gas. Now, if you take the gas out of your bike, keep in mind, I'm going to take the tank right off, and then I'm going to rehook it back up again, and I'll show you all that anyway. But just keep in mind that if you have a motorcycle tank that's not treated with like a Teflon coating or something like that, that it will rust if you leave it too long without gas in it. So just be mindful of that. So anyway, coming along. Anyway, yeah. So I'll show you when I'm done. Hey, my girl. Sorry, got to take an intermission and pay the dog tax. Eh? My hands are all full of gas, yo, baby. Yeah, that's your liking, your highness, your goodness, your royaltiness. Is that your, yeah? Okay, there we go. Dog tax paid. Okay, let me show you where I'm at. Yes, I got my gas tank off. Okay, what you got is a really clever idea. Sorry, I don't have my wind reduction on the camera, so if the wind picks up, I apologize. But so these are on most sport bikes. You want to put bags or something over there because that's your fuel line. Okay, and then you've got there's the return line. Okay, and then you've got this thing here. Now this thing is just a piece of plastic, probably about 30 cents worth of plastic, but this is your fuel pump sensor, goes to the fuel pump. And if you break that, you might as well burn the bike, because you can't just get this piece. You have to buy the whole pump, which is probably, I'm sure it's an arm and a leg, but this, you just press that one, and that takes one out. Press that one, they're spring loaded. I'm gonna clean those up. If you flip the tank and you have gas in there, it's going to come out of there. It's not self-sealing, so it's just basically these are just quick connects. I don't know why they make this one so difficult, but what you use is a little screwdriver, and you got to kind of put the tab down there, and it is something that is a real pain in the ass to get. You see there's like I'll show you what's in there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 pins, and then you've got the guide here so the pins don't get crushed. I'm gonna clean all this out again. I don't know what I could put in there, so if I ever have to disconnect it again, which, it's a sport bike, so I'm pretty sure, it's easier to work without the tank on it, right? Plus you don't scratch up your tank, and you can get in there, and you can see how dirty that is, this bike. Look at all that. There's mold growing on my bike. How nice. So I'm gonna clean all this up. These are my injectors here. This one looks like it's crooked or something. Maybe that's what my problem was. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happened there. But I'm going to get all the air box off. I'm going to clean this all up. Plugs are right in there, so I got to take the air box off. It's Torx. I'm not sure what size of Torx. Usually I'm pretty good at guessing the sizes, but it's probably like an 8 or 10. Probably Torx. This is my first guess. My first guess is correct. Told you I got a good eye for that. And that is a T30 is what you're looking at. There you go. So this will take off the air box. When I get that off, I'll show you. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to take the air box off. These are not the type of bikes you work on the side of the road. Unless you necessarily have to. It's good to have a truck. The cap's coming off. I have to re-safety the bike anyway, even if I do get it going. But what my goal is, after I get the air box off, is to get to the plugs, get the jumper cables, so I don't have a battery anymore. My battery's toasted. I just got to see if there's fire in the plugs. And if there's fire in the plugs, it means the good news is that it'll tell me all my coil's good. But then the bad news, it tells me that maybe I have an injector problem. And I'm having a hunch that this injector thing here doesn't look like it's set up right. There's like, see, all the other ones are straight, but this one's on an angle. So I'm wondering if something funky happened here. I mean, who knows, right? Yeah, so... but I'll get to all that, and I'll test my injectors. I'll test my CDI box the best I can. It's back here. Who knows, maybe it's just a short somewhere. But I got a lot of work ahead of me anyway, so this bike isn't going to be going on the road this season anyway, even if I wanted it to. You know, I mean, if I was lucky, it's just a loose connector or a dead spark plug. If I'm really lucky, it's just a dead spark plug, because that's like a $11 or $12 fix. On the high side, it's a $20 fix. Depending who has the plugs in stock or not. So I'll get to that and I'll show you when I get there. But just again to recap on this connector from my TT600 brothers and sisters, make sure you don't screw this up. You crush it down. I'll show you just the other side of it, just so you can see what happens. Is it's supposed to be as simple as crush that down, pull it out, but you can see how fragile those 4 wires. Those are like a 16 gauge wire or an 18 gauge wire, so it wouldn't take much to bust those. And then here's your connectors here. You want to keep all that clean. So I'm going to cover all this stuff with zip ties and tie wraps. Take your time with it. There's no use getting dirt in there. No use getting dirt in there. Try to keep that from corroding as much as possible. I'm going to see if I can get some connector cleaner and do all the connections on the bike. I mean, this is an old bike. It's a 2002 model, but it's titled as a 2003 because it was mid-year production run. So I'm going to get to that. Hopefully I'll find out if I got fire in my plugs, and I'll go from there. All right. All right, so let me show you where I'm at. I'm getting down to the wire. I'm going to show you a little trick I do. Put on your tools, a little bucket, and put back anything once you're done, so you know where it goes. Especially if the bike's going to have to be apart for a while, then you know, was this one here or this one there? Especially specialty parts like this, where it's like a half a, you know, nothing else really fits there. And for this one, you got to watch out for these little rubber grommets. I think I lost one. There's one on top of the tank, one on bottom of the tank, and these are like, I forget what to call that type of bolt, but it's like a, yeah, anyway, you get the idea. So I'm covering everything the best I can so dirt doesn't get in there, because I got a lot of work to do ahead of me. I'm going to go through every connector and everything like that, get them all cleaned up. Bike's been sitting for a while, so you can see it actually looks like mold growing on my bike. So I got the tank off. I'll do that. I might even do a tank treatment. We'll see. But I'll show you what I found so far. Looks good, looks normal. Here's a coil. I've already kind of, it's a little bit dirty when you lay it down there. This is the number 1, cylinder number 1. But look right here. I hope that's not what I think it is. I hope I don't have a blown head gasket. I don't know if the camera's picking it up right. You can see there's like an oil or something there, so that doesn't look good, does it? So looks like I'll be taking the side fairings off too. Maybe not today, but today I just want to see if I have fire and which cylinder is not firing. So they basically supply you with a plug socket in your Triumph kit. It's a little bit of a, you got to clear this thing to get it in there, so you got to fight with it a bit to get it in there, but shouldn't be too hard to get in. Remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty. So my hands are all dirty. And yeah, so I'll get those out, and we'll see how my plug's doing. Plug wasn't in there very hard. Okay, hang on. Oh, I see what I did wrong here. Okay. Careful, don't strip the plug. Gotta get this out. I gotta get that out. Post users. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I got it. All right, the correct way this time. So. That's what you don't strip nothing. There you go. One more should do it. It wouldn't hurt to probably change these plugs anyway, considering they're... I forget when I bought the bike, 2017 I want to say. I only put about 10,000 K on it before it had that breakdown. Just be careful when you're taking out the plugs so you don't strip them. So, gentle. I'm not, as you can see, I'm not really using much pressure here at all. They're in there pretty deep, so. And they're a very long threaded plug, just so you know. That's why I gotta, you know, they should just come out by hand once you get to like that point. Yeah, there we go. With the plug. Getting really long thread on these guys. Oh, jeez. There. Oh, that's not a nice looking plug. Well, there's number one. So I'm going to do the same with the rest, all four of them. I'll set them up, but it's not a clean plug there. We'll see. Could just be old and corroded from being old, but I'll measure them against the other plugs. So hopefully it's just a dead plug, but I don't like that there because I probably might have a blown head gasket, which is not good. But thing is when I start the bike, when it does run, it doesn't run on all the cylinders. But if it was just a blown head gasket, it would still run on the cylinders and you'd see blue smoke, right? Because you'd be burning coolant, but it's not doing that. So I don't know what this is. This could be something else. Who knows what it could be. So yeah, so anyway, I'll get to it and get the other ones out and I'll give it a test. All right, so here's my coilovers with my plugs, and you can see my plugs, they're burning a little bit rich, but they're all consistent, so that's good. Maybe it's just because they're older plugs, I don't know. I remember the last time I took them out, they weren't that dirty, but that was like almost 2 years ago. So I'm going to fire the bike up just to see if there's fire, and then I'll call that a day. I'll put things back, and then I'll proceed to my next, which if I get fire in all plugs, that eliminates the coils being bad for the most part. Not necessarily, they could still be a weak coil, and it'll eliminate my plugs. And then then after that, it's probably some sort of a fuel problem, and I'll have to test my injectors. My hunches are going to have something funky about that one there, because it's just, I don't know, something about it just kind of, but we'll see. All right, there we go. So I'll show you when I fire it up. Okay, fire test number one. Hopefully they ground it out enough. Okay, we got fire there. So this one definitely fires. Shut that off. Only one plug fired. Yeah. Yep.
Plug that's firing, put it on the other.
Yeah, I gotta try. Make sure I'm grounded well. Put it on the frame here. All right, attempt two. This bike, you have to pull the clutch in at the same time. Hopefully that's grounded enough. See if we see any fire. All plugs firing. So it's not a plug or coil problem. Lots of fire. The plot thickens. At this time, I'd like to thank the Big Red Road Beast for supplying ample power to my plugs. So we'll get this all. I got to get another battery. If you do have a sport bike, get the good batteries, because this thing, it's been through 2 batteries already, but it's a pretty high compression engine, so I guess it just kills off those cheaper batteries. But so basically, I'm at the level of all plugs, and there's lots of fire on these plugs. Hopefully the camera was able to pick it up. Like, it's, you know, not super sunny right here, but you can see what I'm trying to do here. Just so if you're going to test your plugs, you got to kind of ground it out on the frame. Make sure your plugs are in your coils as best they can. If it's old plug cap ones, same thing, same rule applies. But try to get it so that you've got a ground near the end of your plug, so that when you fire it up, it'll give you a good spark. And I mean, this, I tried it a couple of times after with the camera off, and lots and lots and lots of fire. So it's not a fire problem. My next culprit might be an injector, which according to Triumph, they're about 180 bucks a piece, if that's all it is. Now, I'm hoping that's all it is well, I'm hoping it's not that. I was hoping it was going to be a cheap plug, but these plugs are still, yeah, they're old, but there's enough fire coming off of those you can light a cigarette with. So it's not that. So it must be a fuel delivery problem, which I had a hunch. Explaining again what it was doing. Okay, so fire up the bike. Sometimes the bike would run on all 4 cylinders, and then a few seconds after it would cut out. Now when I start up the bike the past couple of times, it just runs on like 2 cylinders. Well, it sounds like 2 cylinders. It could be running on 3, could be running on 2, could be running on whatever. It could be running on 1, but it does sound more like it was running on 2 cylinders, judging by the sound. So I wasn't getting any backfiring, which means fuel was definitely not going through. And in, you know, like if it would have been just say a dud plug or a coil, the fuel, I would imagine, would still be fed into the cylinder, which would then eventually flood up the cylinder, and then you'd get a detonation. Either you'd blow the head gasket, or you'd get a big backfire out of the exhaust, right? And I wasn't getting that, and I also wasn't getting any smoke. So no smoke is good. I mean, but yeah, so process of elimination is that. So I will take off my panels on the next one, do some more stuff, because got a lot of cleanup to do in there. So I think there's some algae or something growing in there, so I better clean that up. I got about 10,000 K on the bike since I bought it. It had 27,000, I think, is what it had on it, kilometers. So and I put it on 10K myself before this problem occurred, but the bike ran perfect up until that point. Obviously I have some sort of a fueling issue where all my plugs are, maybe it's just, you know, they foul up over time. I'm sure this bike burns a little bit of oil, being such an old bike and everything like that, but definitely a very fast bike, there's no doubt about that. So hopefully I can remedy the problem soon. I'm going to put things back together for now, and when I get to the next phase, I'll show you. So yeah, there we go. So all right, we'll leave it at that for now. Have yourselves a great day, eh?